Many of us consider olive oil an essential ingredient for maintaining cardiovascular wellness and managing bodily inflammation. However, research suggests that the vast majority of older adults are unknowingly mishandling this valuable ingredient in ways that compromise its benefits, or worse, transform it into something potentially harmful. The conventional wisdom seems straightforward enough. Incorporate olive oil into your diet for better health outcomes. Unfortunately, this oversimplified guidance conceals several complex issues that deserve closer examination. The production and distribution of olive oil faces significant quality control challenges. Independent laboratory testing has consistently revealed concerning patterns in retail products. A substantial portion of bottles marketed as premium extra virgin varieties fail to meet authentic standards when analyzed. These products frequently contain additions of less expensive oils, including varieties derived from soybeans or sunflowers that possess different nutritional profiles and inflammatory characteristics. Beyond authenticity concerns lies another fundamental challenge: chemical degradation. Unlike shelf-stable products, olive oil behaves more like fresh produce. Its beneficial compounds are vulnerable to environmental factors, particularly exposure to oxygen, elevated temperatures, and light radiation. These elements gradually break down the protective molecules we seek, converting them into compounds with opposite effects. The bottle currently in your kitchen may have already undergone significant deterioration, regardless of whether its contents are authentic. Let me walk you through 5 critical misunderstandings about proper olive oil usage, with the final point addressing a potentially serious medical consideration that rarely receives adequate attention. Perhaps the most common mistake involves using your finest extra virgin variety for tasks like pan-searing proteins, preparing fried eggs, or cooking stir-fried dishes. While this approach seems logically sound from a health perspective, it actually creates significant problems. The key concept here involves understanding thermal tolerance thresholds. The extra virgin designation indicates minimal processing. The oil retains its natural state along with all its delicate beneficial molecules. However, this same lack of refinement creates thermal vulnerability. Unrefined varieties typically withstand temperatures only up to approximately 350–410 degrees before beginning to break down. Standard home cooking on stovetops frequently exceeds these limits, often reaching 450 degrees or higher. Once visible vapor begins rising from your pan, you've crossed a critical threshold. At this point, several harmful processes occur simultaneously. First, all the nutritional advantages you purchased the oil for are eliminated. The protective plant compounds degrade immediately under excessive heat. More concerning, the oil undergoes oxidative damage that generates unstable molecules and produces acrolein, a harsh chemical irritant also present in tobacco smoke. This substance causes eye irritation and respiratory discomfort when concentrations build up in kitchen air. You're essentially creating an inflammatory agent and then incorporating it into your meal. The solution is both economical and straightforward. Reserve your premium extra virgin products exclusively for unheated applications. Think of it as a finishing condiment rather than a cooking medium. Use it for salad preparations, drizzling over completed dishes, or as a dipping accompaniment for bread. For actual cooking that requires heat, select refined or light varieties instead. The refinement process removes those heat-sensitive compounds, raising the thermal threshold to around 470 degrees. These versions cost considerably less and perform better under cooking conditions. Many people keep their olive oil bottle positioned near their cooking area for easy access. While convenient, this placement accelerates deterioration dramatically. Remember those 3 degradation factors mentioned earlier: heat, light, and oxygen. Your countertop, particularly areas adjacent to cooking appliances, provides maximal exposure to all 3. The space near your stove represents perhaps the worst possible storage location in your entire home. This area experiences constant thermal radiation from nearby heating elements, even during periods when you're not actively cooking. Each cooking session gradually elevates the oil's temperature, accelerating chemical breakdown. This sustained mild warming promotes rancidity development. The concern with rancid oil extends beyond simple ineffectiveness. It becomes actively counterproductive. Those anti-inflammatory molecules you paid for have transformed into pro-inflammatory compounds. The cardiovascular supporting product is now creating arterial stress and producing effects contrary to your intentions. Immediate action is needed. Relocate that bottle as soon as possible. Optimal storage requires cool, dark conditions, inside pantries, cabinets, or cupboards away from light and heat sources. Additionally, avoid purchasing oil packaged in transparent containers, whether plastic or glass. Such packaging indicates inadequate quality standards from the manufacturer. This point warrants particular attention because it involves systematic consumer deception. There's substantial probability that your current bottle contains fraudulent contents. Investigative research has repeatedly documented widespread quality fraud throughout this sector. Notable among these was a comprehensive study conducted by researchers at the University of California, Davis, which found that more than 70% of imported products labeled as extra virgin failed to meet established authenticity criteria. This represents clear consumer fraud. Companies are accepting your payment for health-promoting products while delivering inferior substitutes. These compromised products typically contain substantial quantities of inexpensive industrial seed oils, varieties high in omega-6 fatty acids associated with inflammatory responses. You're paying premium prices for precisely the ingredients you're attempting to avoid. However, you can protect yourself by learning to identify quality indicators that manufacturers of authentic products include on their packaging. When selecting olive oil, become an informed evaluator. Reject any product sold in clear or translucent packaging. Quality producers understand that light causes degradation and therefore use opaque dark glass. Seek third-party verification seals from independent testing organizations. For California-sourced products, the California Olive Oil Council seal provides such verification. This is the most important factor. Disregard the best buy date. It's largely meaningless marketing. Instead, search for the harvest date or pressing date. Since olive oil is essentially fruit juice rather than an aging product like wine, fresher is always better. Purchase only bottles harvested within the past 12 to 18 months. If a bottle lacks this transparency about harvest timing, the company is concealing something. Return it to the shelf. You've made conscious dietary improvements, replacing cream-based or sugar-laden dressings with healthier alternatives, consuming larger quantities of vegetables. Yet, your weight management efforts aren't producing expected results. You may even notice gradual increases. This creates understandable frustration and confusion. The explanation often involves misunderstanding the relationship between nutritional quality and caloric content. Because olive oil carries a healthy fat designation, many people use it liberally without measurement. However, healthy doesn't equate to low-calorie. Fats represent the most energy-dense macronutrient category. A single tablespoon contains approximately 120 calories. Consider the implications. That generously dressed salad you prepared for dinner potentially exceeded the caloric content of a glazed pastry. The sautéed vegetables received an additional 360 calories you probably didn't account for. This doesn't represent dietary failure. It's simply miscalculation based on incomplete understanding of the term healthy. The correction is immediate. Obtain measuring spoons. 1 tablespoon constitutes a standard serving, not however much happens to come out when you pour freely. This final point addresses something beyond authenticity or caloric concerns. It involves potential medical complications that receive insufficient attention. Millions of people over 60 currently take anticoagulant medications such as Warfarin, branded as Coumadin, or maintain daily low-dose aspirin regimens for cardiovascular protection. These medications serve vital functions. However, olive oil contains natural compounds that also possess mild anticoagulant properties. In isolation, this represents a beneficial characteristic. Problems emerge when multiple sources of anticoagulant effects combine, perhaps a fish oil supplement in the morning, substantial olive oil consumption at lunch, and prescribed medication in the evening. This creates what's called a stacking effect. You may be inadvertently overthinning your blood, substantially increasing risks for excessive bruising or serious internal bleeding episodes. This isn't inherently a food safety issue. It's a biochemical interaction concern. Anyone taking anticoagulant medications must discuss their olive oil consumption patterns with their healthcare provider. It's not a neutral food. It's a biologically active substance that requires coordination with your pharmaceutical regimen. This sounds alarming, but the solution is manageable. You don't need to eliminate olive oil from your diet. You simply need informed management. Choose appropriate varieties for specific applications. Reserve extra virgin products in dark bottles with recent harvest dates for cold applications only. Use less expensive refined versions for heated cooking. Maintain proper storage conditions in cool, dark cabinets. Never position near heat sources. Use measured quantities, typically 1 tablespoon rather than unmeasured amounts. If taking medications, coordinate with your physician regarding safe consumption levels. With this knowledge, you're now equipped to maximize benefits while avoiding common pitfalls. You've gained control over these important dietary decisions through better understanding of the science and practical considerations involved.